Thanks, Rebecca. It's time for Larry's Garden now, and joining us is Larry ONeil. He's pumped up. He's showing us how to get the most out of our fruit trees. These are all fruit trees.
Yeah, right, exactly. And this is one of the unusual varieties. This is a low-chill apple. Okay. And for a great selection of fruit trees, you have them at Ace Hardware in case you're wondering where to get one. Here's an apple that grows in low chill. You know, one of the unique things about living in North Florida is we don't have enough chill apples to grow, the Red Delicious, the Macintosh.
When you say low chill, what do you mean?
That's a temperature, the hours below 45 degrees. And these apples will grow with 300 chill hours. But some of the unique things about it, it has beautiful flowers. You know, this is a great ornamental tree as well as something that's edible garden. You know, they'll get around 20 feet. Some of the things you got to remember when planting to get the best out of them is they need full sun. Yeah. And they also need their leaves to dry off early in the morning. So plant them in an area that's going to have full sun early in the morning and most of the day. Shade on them in the morning is going to, you know, reduce their production, and they're also prone to leaf disease. When you're planting, you want to make sure that you get the right planting depth. A little raised up is always better with any type of fruit trees you plant in North Florida because, you know, hey, in the middle of June, July, we can start with those torrential downpours.
Sure, yeah.
Keeping the mulch, we'll talk a little bit more about apples because they're not commonly used. Keeping the mulch away from the base because you don't want to have a little bit, but, you know, apples are relatively shallow rooted, you know, so you want to keep it away from the roots so it doesn't create any areas where they could have possible root rot.
Now, if you want to go to a store and buy one of these, you got to have some space in your yard because you tell me these things get huge.
They can get around 20, 25 feet, and then you can prune them. You know, to size. One of the key things about, good point, is pruning them in the winter and also making sure that the scaffolding branches here are out about 60 degrees, at least 60 degrees. So this angle between this has got to be around there. Okay. So what happens is that they don't have that right angle here is that you get inclusive bark, you know, and that's an area where it's prone to rot. So this apple, you know, about 1 pound of fertilizer, and another thing you got to remember is they need pollinators. So you'll need 2 apple trees, one Anna and one Dorset.
Okay.
So, you know, without that pollination, you're not going to have a crop.
You got to have a friend.
Right, exactly. Here's another one.
This is a plum?
This is a plum. You know,
okay.
These plums are selected and grown for our climate zone again. And a lot of times when you go to a store and looking for plum trees, you know, at a big box store, they have plums from all over, you know, maybe grown in North Carolina, shipped here. I recommend most people to go to the local garden center like Ace, and they're going to have this Florida selections.
And they can thrive here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, some of the things that you got to remember when you're picking them, the University of Florida selections start with Gulf, or the University of Auburn start with AU. Some of the pruning things you want to do is first get them planted right, planting depth. This plant needs about 1 pound of fertilizer, but you want to stop on the chemical fertilizer for about 2 weeks. You want to make sure you augment the hole with plenty of black cow. But on the pruning on this one here is a little different. You want to head off the top branch and let it kind of spread out. Get this area here. You want to thin the fruit down because they do get a lot of fruit. And these also are going to need pollinators. So you're going to have 2.
I see.
So you're going to have room. You know, you can grow them as an ornamental tree because they are, let me grab this one over here.
How many years before you have fruit?
You get them pretty quickly. You get them pretty quickly, about 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4, okay.
3 or 4 years, and, you know, it depends on the size tree you get.
Okay.
But, you know, they have that beautiful spring flower display. You know, some of the best areas are where the water comes off the eaves, comes down on the tree, and runs away. You know, you want to make sure it runs away. They want to have good moisture. When they're in a dry, sandy area, you want to make sure you have plenty of augmentation on that one.
Great, Larry. You'll be back with us next hour.
Right.
Talking more about gardening. For more information about gardening, log on to larrysgarden.com or give him a call. Larry's Garden Design Installation at 346-1970s. Remember, you can hear Larry on the radio every morning on WOKV 690 AM and 106.5 FM. Still to come on the morning show.